Let's keep it on the baseball side. I'm not going to dive too deep into this one. It's the Chicago White Sox. I don't like kicking a dead horse, but I do like talking about a team that I used to love, or I'm supposed to love, right? Because for many, many years of my life, they've always been a competitive, compelling team. They are the opposite of that right now. The temperature check right now for the Chicago White Sox is take your pick. It's either 150 degrees outside or it's negative 20. Either way, you can't go outside right now if you're the Chicago White Sox. It is that bad. We got the news that Tim Anderson was DFA'd the other day. It is interesting that the lineup that the Chicago White Sox, won 93 games with in 2021, though where are they now of that lineup is fascinating. Whether it is Yoan Moncada on the shelf, whether it is Yasmani Grandal hitting one whatever for the Pittsburgh Pirates on his last legs, Jose Abreu DFA'd, Tim Anderson DFA'd, Luis Robert seemingly is either like checked out on the season or he's just thinking about his at-bats at this point. He's not doing so great. They're talking about possibly trading him. A lot of the guys in that lineup, their careers have really taken a turn, and it's been really tough. One guy whose career hasn't taken a turn for the worse, and I'm actually really proud to see it and say it, is that Andrew Vaughn. Andrew Vaughn in June is hitting 337. He's slugging 561. He's got 6 home runs. He's got 20 RBIs. Dude has turned his season around. Really great to see. This was a guy that when the White Sox drafted him, every single MLB analyst said the dude can hit in his sleep. We've been sitting around. We've been waiting for it. Got off to such a slow start. It's really great to see Andrew Vaughn turn it around. You need to start trying to find some of these foundational pieces if you can with this White Sox team moving forward, because you're hearing more rumors about the Chicago White Sox possibly trading Luis Robert and possibly trading, and I've been against it on this show for months now, Garrett Crochet. Don't do it, White Sox. Don't do it. He leads Major League Baseball in strikeouts right now. And you know what also is hilarious? If you look at the top 5 of strikeouts right now, I think number 3 is Dylan Cease, and number 5 is Chris Sale. So you got 2 former White Sox and 1 current White Sox player on your roster right now. And here is the problem: is you are never going to get out of this hole. I get it. Trading for prospects, it's so tantalizing. It's so seductive. It's so easy to say as a sports fan. Just trade them for prospects. Trade them for kids in the future and let the kids play. But again, what are you trading? What are you getting back? And even if you are getting something back of value, can you ever replace what you're trading? That was the problem with Chris Sale. They've been looking for Chris Sale ever since they traded Chris Sale. They might actually have him in Garrett Crochet. And guess what the Chicago White Sox are talking about? They're talking about trading him. To reiterate, he's 24 years old. After this season, they have 2 years of control left of him. I'm not buying these reports that they're trying to talk extension talks with Garrett Crochet and he's turned them down. So the poor Chicago White Sox have to trade Garrett Crochet now. I called BS on that. We don't even know what those numbers are. What are the Chicago White Sox offering him? 5 years? 45 million, 50 million, 54 million, the John Danks contract? Until I see those numbers, until I can say, wow, Garrett Crochet is turning that number down, maybe he really doesn't want to be here. I'm not buying that for a second. I think that's a cop-out, and I think they're trying to rationalize trading this dude now. I can't wrap my head around it, and to be very honest with you, I wish that there was also someone in the room that would just say to Chris Getz, who's a first-time general manager, doing it for the first time, he did the Dylan Cease trade. Drew Thorpe is up. We'll see how that works out. But he's putting a lot of these huge franchise-changing trades in motion in his first year. It makes me feel a certain way that if we're going to preach patience on the success of the ball club and the organization moving forward, can I also preach some patience that the general manager slow down a little bit? Learn a little bit more about the infrastructure of your team, maybe kind of come around to the fact and the realization that Garrett Crochet is going to be a really important piece to whatever success that you want to have with this team in the next 2, 3, 4 years. Press pause on it, all right? They talk about it all the time. It's a cliche. It's so easy to trade guys. It's so easy to tear it down. It's hard to build it back up. The White Sox right now are in the easy phase from a front office perspective in regards to trading away players. And I'm just hoping and praying that they pause a little bit more and they just resist the urge to trade Garrett Crochet. If you want to talk about Luis Robert, I'm willing to listen. I am. I'm willing to listen, and I'm worried about saying things out loud because they might reverse jinx the value that they might get back. But Robert, he's hurt often, hits the ball at the ballpark, hits the ball hard. Great offensive player. Been on the downturn defensively for years now. That's not coming back. If anything, you would think he's probably going to become a corner outfielder at some point. His value over the next couple weeks, I'm interested. If he plays well, it may become the highest value that you're ever going to have with Luis Robert, and you may need to think about it. I understand that he's a young player. Also a player that isn't he's also a person that I'm not optimistic about, that when he turns 31, 32, 33, gets into that latter stage of his career, that he's going to be as functional and as athletic and productive as he is right now. He just doesn't seem like a dude that's built for the long haul. I'm just going to say it. The lower leg issues, the hip stuff, I feel like that could be something that could drag him for the next several years of his career and towards the end. And if you're looking for longevity with a player, I'm not quite seeing it with Luis Robert, even though he's incredibly talented offensively. So I would consider trading Luis Robert right now. I would not consider trading Garrett Crochet from the Chicago White Sox, even if it is a 150-degree day in the land of the White Sox.